There was a man named Daniel. Daniel had a dream. He wanted to write a book, a real book. The kind of book that changes people's lives. The kind he wished he'd had when he was young and lost and searching for answers. He had the idea. He had the talent. He had the passion. But every single day, Daniel woke up and said the same 4 words. Not yet. Not yet. Daniel was waiting for the right moment. He was waiting until he had more time, until his kids were older, until he had a bigger apartment with a proper writing desk and a quiet room, until work slowed down, until he felt ready. He told himself, this is wisdom, not fear. Why start something you can't finish properly? He'd say, why launch something half-baked? Why put yourself out there when the conditions aren't right? And the years went by. 5 years. His oldest child turned 10. His notebook stayed blank. He watched other people he knew were less talented than him, publish books, build businesses, start podcasts, launch things that were imperfect, rough, unpolished, and succeed. And Daniel sat at his desk with his blank notebook and thought, their time just came sooner. My moment is still coming. But here is what Daniel didn't understand. Here is what most of us don't understand. The perfect moment is not coming. It was never coming. It doesn't exist. Let me tell you about another person. Her name was Rosa. Rosa wanted to open a restaurant, a small place, family recipes. Her grandmother's soup, her mother's bread, the kind of food that makes people feel like they're home even when they're far away. But Rosa was broke. She was a single mother working 2 jobs. She had almost no savings, no connections, no culinary school degree. Every advisor she spoke to said the same thing. The restaurant business is brutal. Wait until you have more capital. Wait until you have experience. Wait until the economy is better. So Rosa asked herself, what can I do right now with what I have? Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect. Right now. She started making soup in her apartment kitchen. She filled 5 containers. She sold them to her neighbors. Next week, she made 10. The week after, 20. 6 months later, she was catering small events. 1 year later, she had a food truck. 3 years later, she opened her restaurant. It was small. It was imperfect. The chairs didn't match. The sign out front was slightly crooked. And every single table was full every single night. Was Rosa's first batch of soup perfect? No. Was her food truck perfectly organized? Absolutely not. Was her restaurant ready when she opened it? She will tell you herself, nothing was ready. But she was, not because conditions were perfect, but because she stopped waiting for them to be. Here is the brutal truth that nobody tells you. Waiting for the perfect moment is the decision. When you say, not yet, you are making a choice. You are choosing comfort over courage. You are choosing the fantasy of the future over the reality of today. You are choosing who you might become over who you are becoming. And the cruelest part? The longer you wait, the harder it gets, because waiting becomes a habit. Hesitation becomes your identity. And one day you wake up and realize that the story you told yourself, I'm just waiting for the right moment, was never about timing. It was about fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of trying your hardest and finding out it still isn't enough. I understand that fear. It is real. It is valid. It is human. But here is what I need you to hear. Fear doesn't go away when conditions improve. Fear goes away when you move. The courage doesn't come first. The action comes first. The courage follows. Every single person you admire, every artist, every entrepreneur, every athlete, every leader, they all started before they were ready. They started scared. They started imperfect. They started anyway. Daniel was 47 years old when he finally understood this. He was at a funeral. His best friend, a man named Marcus, the same age as him, full of ideas and laughter and dreams of his own, had died suddenly. No warning, here one day, gone the next. And at the funeral, Daniel sat in a hard wooden pew and he thought about all the conversations he and Marcus had over the years, all the plans they talked about, all the things Marcus was going to do someday. Marcus never got his someday. Daniel drove home. He sat down at his desk. He opened his notebook and he wrote the first line of his book. Not because conditions were perfect, not because he felt ready, not because the timing was right. He wrote it because he finally understood there's no other time but now. That book took him 2 years to write. It was hard. There were nights he wanted to quit, chapters he threw away, doubts that almost swallowed him whole. He published it. It wasn't a bestseller, but it changed lives. He heard from people across the world who read it and said, "This is exactly what I needed." And every time he got one of those messages, Daniel thought about how many people he would have never reached if he had kept waiting. So let me ask you something. What is your book? What is the thing you've been putting off? The dream you've been waiting to start until the time is right? The business, the conversation, the creative project, the healthy habit, the apology, the leap? What is it? And how long have you been waiting? Because here is what I want you to take away from Daniel's story, from Rose's story, from every person who ever built something real. The moment is not out there somewhere ahead of you, waiting to be found. The moment is made by you, right now. With what you have, you will not feel ready. You will not have everything figured out. The conditions will never be perfect, but you can begin. Begin badly if you have to. Begin scared if you have to. But begin. Because the only real mistake you can make, the one you cannot recover from, is getting to the end of your life and realizing that the thing you kept waiting to start was the very thing you were here to do. Don't wait. The moment is now. It has always been now.